Hello and welcome to KillerPink Art. Take a look at this picture here of these halls and walls. This technique is great for making stone halls and walls that want to have that handmade feel to them. I'm going to show you how we got these paint ready for any tabletop terrain or diorama needs. I'm going to be working with XPS foam. I've made a few of these blanks here with slices of XPS foam that are about 2 inches wide. I'm making these just to practice painting, but you can scale this technique up or down to suit your needs. This is really just about how to achieve that look of a structure that has been hand-built from stone. Now, if your needs require you to have a specific size or angles, then using pins to secure the 2 pieces of foam while the glue dries is a good way to go, especially if you have shaky hands like I do. I mean, just look at these things, they shake everywhere. I used pins before glue this first time, and then I switched to using glue before the pins for the second time. It seems to be much cleaner when you do it this way. Since I want to try a few different brick styles and practice other terrain techniques, I went ahead and I made a few of these blanks. As I find it's easy, just have a bunch laying around and you can just make them all at once, keep them on hand. This keeps them in scale also to each other if you decide you do want to make modular pieces with them. And here you can see how they just sort of line up to get that effect. You can also play around with how they fit together if you're looking to make a larger structure. But I've got these pieces good to go. I've taken chunks of XPS foam in roughly small, medium, and large groups. I put them in my mental health prescription bottles because who needs those medications anyway? Along with a few small rocks, you shake them all up and you get a great variety of shapes and sizes. All with a nice weathered look, but not overly done. Now here's the glue I like to use. I don't know why I was using wood glue in that first shot. It did the job, and I think I just grabbed what was closest to me, but Eileen's original tacky here is what I really like to use. Because it's so thick, I like to keep it upside down. The little holder I made here also from XPS foam. These are the larger size foam bricks that I'm starting with. You want to cut a bunch that are roughly about the same size and put them into some type of container with actual stones so you can shake them up and get a good texture going on. Collect all those rocks, get them out of the way, and now for the part that I truly like the most. A lot of tedious things I know a lot of people don't look forward to, but I find the zen in it, I guess, and it really relaxes me. I know the prospect of putting on brick after brick, especially in a larger project, is something that might make a lot of people think twice about doing this method, but I find it soothing. Just kick on back and be one with the craft you're doing. It sounds real corny, I get it, but if you've been in that moment, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Everything is clicking and you basically lose track of time. I used a lot of glue here for the bigger blocks, but I don't worry about covering all the backing. The blocks are big enough and the glue will squish between the pieces, working kind of like a mortar. With the smaller blocks, I'll end up covering the backing first. There's no specific method I'm using to put the blocks on the wall either. It really comes down to feel. Newer buildings tend to have more uniform sized stones and placement, but the idea here again is to get that old handmade feel. One of the benefits of this glue is that it dries really strong, and I am using a lot, but it will just make the whole thing come together better in the end. You can also use the slower drying time to move the stones around a bit as you're placing them. I didn't like how it looked along the top. It was too flat, so I added another layer on each of these. And then here you can see that they're done. The backs are all set up, and I'm ready to put the floor on. If your project doesn't need a ground, then you could just apply this technique to make any type of wall for a diorama or tabletop terrain that needs that man-made look. Because I'm moving on to the floor section, I'm using the smaller XPS bricks now, so I am going to cover more of the surface area of the backing, because there's just not going to be as much space for these smaller bricks to grab onto. I also wasn't sure with these more medium-sized bricks here, because these aren't the smallest ones quite yet. I wasn't sure how flat they were going to be, and obviously sometimes dioramas and tabletop terrain pieces need to be relatively level for things to stand on them. So this was relatively successful. You could get away with that, but we can get it even more flush. So again, this isn't bad. But let's see if we can get it better. Let's just clean up these medium-sized bricks and bring out these ones. Now look at these right here. They're the smaller ones. They're thinner, all about the same height, so it's going to keep things nice and level, which is really the thing that we want to look at. Oh, it got serious now. Okay. Just like that, we're back. See, time flies when you get in the zone. And now we're looking at our almost completed project. We've completed the build portion anyway. Now it's time to seal. I'm going to be using Mod Podge and a brush that I don't mind ruining because sometimes Mod Podge really doesn't want to come off. Now the Mod Podge is mixed with black paint. This allows for it to show up. And as you can see, I'm basically out of Mod Podge and black paint. There is enough here for me to finish the job. It doesn't require as much as you would think, but what this is going to do is provide a nice shell to it. It's going to tie everything together. It's going to make it a little more durable. Now with the addition of the black paint, which will dry much darker than what it's going on as here, just look at the rim of the Mod Podge bottle. You'll be able to see all the spots that you hit, and importantly all the spots that you missed. You may want to seal these with a spray primer, like a rattle primer. And if you don't know, most rattle can primers will melt the XPS foam. And this is what they look like when they are done. The Mod Podge is dried and they are both ready to be painted. You can do a bunch of these, try some different styles out for yourself. If you've gotten anything out of this video, obviously I wouldn't mind a like or subscribe. Thanks for joining me on the first real video I've made, and more than anything, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.